The drama between Oscar Piastri and McLaren has reached boiling point, and this time, it's far beyond a simple on-track rivalry. What unfolded under the bright lights of Marina Bay wasn't just a wheel-to-wheel battle for position. It was a public fracture between a championship leader and the very team that's supposed to be backing him. The world watched in disbelief as moments after the checkered flag fell, Piastri was conspicuously absent from his team's title celebration. While champagne sprayed and smiles lit up the podium, the Australian stood alone in the media pen, watching it all from afar. For many fans, this was the final straw. First came the aggressive overtake from Lando Norris that pushed Piastri off the racing line. Then came the radio silence when he demanded the team reverse the positions. But what really set the internet ablaze was that shocking post-race snub, the apparent decision to celebrate without their title leader. Was this mere coincidence? Or is McLaren sending a chilling message about who they're truly backing in this title fight? Before we dive deeper into this explosive story, make sure to hit subscribe because trust me, you're going to want to stay updated as this internal war threatens to tear McLaren apart from the inside. What started as a fierce but fair rivalry between Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris has now erupted into one of the most dramatic storylines of the 2025 Formula One season. And at the centre of this growing storm is a question that could define the rest of the championship. Is McLaren still fully behind their title leader, or are they quietly shifting their support towards someone else? The Singapore Grand Prix at Marina Bay was supposed to be another milestone in McLaren's dominant season. Instead, it exposed deep cracks within the team. The trouble began almost immediately after the lights went out. Piastri, determined to extend his lead in the drivers' standings, attempted a bold move around the outside of Max Verstappen into turn 1. But on the inside, Norris seized the opportunity to challenge both of them. What happened next looked more like a fight between bitter rivals than teammates. Norris braked hard to avoid colliding with Verstappen, but in doing so, he veered into Piastri's line and forced the Australian wide. The contact pushed Piastri off the racing line and dropped him to 4th place. Piastri's anger was instant and raw. Over team radio, he blasted Norris for what he called reckless driving and poor teamwork. He repeatedly demanded that the team order a position swap to restore fairness. But McLaren refused. There were no team orders, no attempt to mediate the situation, and no penalty from the stewards. For the 3rd consecutive race, Norris finished ahead of Piastri, and the gap in the championship shrank to just 22 points. But the real controversy was yet to come. After the checkered flag, McLaren celebrated their 2nd consecutive constructors' title with a champagne-soaked podium ceremony. Cameras captured the team, embracing, cheering, and high-fiving, but one key figure was missing: their championship leader. Instead, Oscar Piastri was seen standing alone in the media pen, watching the celebration from a screen as he waited for interviews. Social media exploded with outrage. Fans called the move insane and humiliating, with some even accusing McLaren of bullying their star driver. Conspiracy theories spread rapidly, suggesting that Piastri had boycotted the celebration in protest, or worse, that the team had deliberately excluded him. The truth, however, is more complicated. According to reports, McLaren had agreed with Formula One to celebrate the constructors' title immediately after the race. And under FIA regulations, drivers finishing outside the top 3 like Piastri are required to head straight to the weighbridge and then to the media pen before joining any team activities. In other words, Piastri wasn't banned from the podium. He was following protocol. But here's the key detail that fans can't ignore. McLaren could have waited. They could have delayed their celebration by just a few minutes to include the driver who had contributed more points than anyone else. They chose not to, and that decision speaks volumes. This isn't an isolated incident. Many believe the signs of favoritism have been there for weeks. At Monza, Piastri was ordered to let Norris through after his teammate suffered a slow pit stop despite having been ahead for much of the race. In Singapore, the team ignored Piastri's calls to swap positions after being bumped off the racing line. Now, they've celebrated a championship without their star driver present. Each of these decisions might be defensible on its own, but together, they suggest a clear pattern. McLaren are prioritising Norris. Former driver James Hinchcliffe hinted that Piastri's mindset may have shifted as a result. "He's not celebrating with the team," Hinchcliffe observed. "Maybe that's because he now feels he's on his own in this title fight." That theory is supported by Piastri's increasingly frustrated demeanour. Usually calm and composed on team radio, the Australian has grown noticeably more vocal and emotional in recent weeks. Even Jenson Button has expressed concern that the psychological weight of the title fight, combined with what appears to be a lack of support from McLaren, is starting to take its toll. There's also a strategic layer to this story. McLaren know that Lando Norris is the face of their future, a long-term project and a marketing asset. With the title fight tightening, the temptation to back their homegrown star over their newer driver is real. But this approach comes with enormous risk. If Piastri feels abandoned by the team that should be supporting him, his confidence and performance could crumble just when McLaren need him most. With only 6 races left in the season, the stakes couldn't be higher. Piastri's lead is now less than a race win, and the psychological battle inside McLaren's garage might prove more decisive than anything happening on track. The next race in Austin could be the turning point. If McLaren continues to make decisions that benefit Norris, the championship could slip away from Piastri, or worse, the team could tear itself apart in the process. Ultimately, the Singapore Grand Prix was more than just another race. It was a moment that revealed the uncomfortable truth about McLaren's internal politics. Whether by accident or design, they have created a scenario where their two drivers are no longer just rivals, they are adversaries. And in the brutal world of Formula One, when a driver starts to believe he's fighting not only the competition, but also his own team, the consequences can be explosive. With the championship hanging in the balance, all eyes now turn to Austin. Will McLaren reunite behind a single mission, or will their internal power struggle hand the title to someone else entirely? So here's the question we're all asking. Is Oscar Piastri really fighting for the World Championship? Or is he fighting against his own team? If McLaren continue down this path, the rest of 2025 could turn into one of the most dramatic intra-team battles in recent memory. But one thing's for sure, the Papaya Civil War is only just getting started. What do you think? Is McLaren showing clear favoritism toward Lando Norris, or are fans reading too much into it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because this story is far from over.